Gainesville, Georgia has been rated one of the top cities to live in when it comes to the state of Georgia. So I wanted to take some time today to share with you, why do people love this city so much, and why is it somewhere that you should definitely consider if you're thinking about making a move? Let's face it, when people think about Gainesville, a lot of times what they're thinking about is Lake Lanier. I actually grew up on this lake. My grandparents moved there when I was about 5 years old, so I spent many summers here, on my grandfather's boat, going through the water, going fishing. One of the biggest memories that I have is going paddle boating, which is something that you do more in like the little coves, but some of the greatest memories that I have. And so a lot of people, when they're making the move here, are looking to get on waterfront property right there on Lake Lanier. There's so many things to do on Lake Lanier though. It's not just about boating and fishing. There are some restaurants like Fishtails, or Pigtails is another one. One of the things that I love about Fishtails specifically, because I have kids, is they have a huge sandbox and you can overlook the water, but it's a safe distance and the kids can actually go play in the sandbox while you're enjoying a drink or food, and it's just a fun time for everybody. Another place that you can't miss is Lake Lanier Islands, or Margaritaville as they've transformed the name recently. It's a fun little water park right on the water. It's got tons to do during the summertime, but then in the winter, they transform it and a lot of the slides are now covered in ice. So it's a really fun winter place. It's lit up with lights everywhere. It's just a really fun experience to take for the family. One of the things that you're not really going to see on the map, but I feel is important to share, is the difference in the areas of the lake. So the south side of the lake is going to be a lot more active. That's where more of the restaurants are. That's where more of like Margaritaville, Lake Lanier Islands that I was referencing, that's where that's located. So the south end, closer to Buford Dam, which is going to kind of be like that bottom curve of going over into Gwinnett County, Buford, and then going up into Flowery Branch in the Hall County area, that's going to kind of be the livelier part of the water. When you go on the top side, it's not that it's dead, but it's definitely a bit more quiet. So on the north side, you've got Gainesville, which is going to be in Hall County, then it stretches over into Dawsonville, so that's Dawson County, and then you have the Chestatee area. So that area is going to definitely be just a little bit more calm, a little bit quieter. There's also a little area right at the tip top called Murrayville. That area is still being developed, but one of my favorite neighborhoods ever really in Georgia, Marina Bay. It's absolutely gorgeous. It almost kind of feels like the Cape without the cold. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Gainesville has so much more to offer than just Lake Lanier. That is just a small portion of what you can consider when you're looking at Gainesville. With a population of just over 43,000 people, Gainesville has seen a lot of growth the past couple of years. The one thing that I really love is that they have done a great job of really considering the green space and the parks. They've got lots of parks throughout. Some of them are right there on the water, some beaches, some picnic tables, things like that, so that you can really enjoy it without having to go boating and being on the water. There's also a lot of natural creeks and small little rippling waterfalls that you can walk through, some hiking. So it's really got a lot to check out. An area of Gainesville that you can't miss is Green Street. So that's the old historic downtown of Gainesville. This is kind of where Gainesville started. There's just beautiful historic homes lining the streets. Most of these have been now turned into businesses throughout, but it's absolutely gorgeous driving down through there. This is where you're going to have a little bit more of the traffic, so that's something to consider. But if you go down there, make sure that you save time. Stop in Mellow Mushroom. It's in one of the old historic homes. They've done such a fantastic job of keeping the history and that charm in there. Great pizza. It's just a really fun spot to check out. You'll notice as you drive around, there's a lot of revamping that's going on in the Gainesville area. And that's because there definitely has been a lot of growth. But for a long time, Gainesville had just been a small town, and a lot of people liked that, but a lot of people were kind of missing out on the city amenities, if you will. They really wanted a little bit of growth to come in, and so the city of Gainesville has really started to do some revamping, and you'll notice it as you drive around. Just on the street from downtown, you'll run into Northeast Georgia Medical Center. I've been there quite often. Actually, my cousin had a couple of her kids there, so it's a great hospital system. You will find right now they're actually going through a very large expansion. So they're getting a 12-story addition. It's supposed to be started actually right now. I think last year they started breaking ground, and it's supposed to be going on over the next couple of years. So that's a great thing for the citizens of Gainesville. Northeast Georgia Medical was actually recently recognized nationally as Best Employer by Forbes magazine. The list ranked 1,382 employers across the nation, and North Georgia Medical Center ranked 15th. You'll notice as you drive around Gainesville, there is no shortage of shopping and restaurants, things like that. Now, I'll be honest, there's Lakeshore Mall. Don't even bother. Unfortunately, Lakeshore Mall has been around for a very long time, and it's just kind of run down. There's not all of the shops there anymore. However, there is a ton of shopping outside of that. You're going to see TJ Maxx, Home Depot, Marshall's, Publix. They've got a couple of great restaurants. Cheddar's is one of my personal favorite. They've got Longhorn, and they've also got Texas Roadhouse is a real popular one in the area. There's really not a store around the area that I can't think of that they don't have. A really popular thing about Gainesville is its location. Gainesville is very centrally located. You can really be anywhere you need to be within an hour's time. If you want to head north, you can be in the North Georgia mountains or some of the wineries within 45 minutes to an hour, or some even less. Wolf Mountain Vineyard is probably my top favorite when it comes to wineries, and I could be there in about 45 minutes to enjoy a beautiful day. You're needing to commute into the city, or perhaps you're trying to catch a flight, needing to get to the airport an hour south, you're there. Talking about the city, one of the differences Gainesville has versus Atlanta is public transportation. That's not something that you're really going to see in Gainesville. There's not going to be trains or buses, things like that. Other than catching an Uber, you're really not going to find public transportation in the Gainesville area. One of the things that you're going to notice when you call in to chat with us, we really start to ask you some questions. And sometimes it might feel a little bit personal, but you can't look at a map from where you are and see the differences in Gainesville. But one of the things that we learned from being here and living here for 40 years is that Gainesville really has about 3 different distinct areas, if you will. So you've got one side that's more of the lake side. Most of that area is on the water or very close to the water. It's not as densely populated when it comes to restaurants and shopping. You have to drive about 10-15 minutes to get to those things. Then you kind of got the center of Gainesville, which is going to be that downtown area that I talked about. Lots of shopping, restaurants. You're really close to the medical center. And then if you go over to the other side, it's more of an industrial area. There is a lot of buildings. And then Georgia is actually, we're also known that area as the chicken processing plant of the world, because all of the chicken farming and chicken processing plants are right there. And I'm not going to lie to you, as you drive through that area, the smell is a little strong. So as we start to ask you these questions, we're really trying to find out, what does your weekend look like? What do you want to be doing? Do you want to be closer to the water? Do you want to be closer to shopping? Do you need to be close to the hospital system for any specific reasons? That way we can kind of give you guidance when we're looking at the different areas based on what your needs are. Currently in Gainesville, the average home price has risen just a little bit, and we're looking at about $360,000. Currently, the most expensive home is going to be this $3.5 million beauty overlooking the lake. And then the least expensive property currently on the market is going to be this manufactured home here, but it has a beautiful lot. So a lot of people will go ahead and buy this because they tear down that manufactured home, and then they have an acre that they can build whatever they want and whatever they desire. There is a ton to learn about Georgia. So if you're thinking about making a move, whether you already live in Georgia or you're going to be relocating here, my team and I would love to be a resource and answer any questions that we can. Our contact information is below. Go ahead and reach out to us. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.